Messi's goal against Austria may have reminded you of a certain goal against Real Madrid. He scored this goal again and again and again. It starts to tell the story that Messi may know something that we don't. Whether he's played right wing for Barcelona, lone striker for Guardiola's Barcelona, duo striker for Argentina, a completely free roll all over the pitch, Messi still scores this same goal. And at 38 years old, without the same speed that he once had, he's still the one that we're all talking about at the World Cup. So let's try to break it down. So today the breakdown will look like this. We're going to go through what happens if you mark tightly, what happens when you get the space, and what attributes you need to pull it off. Okay, there's a lot of detail in today, so I wouldn't share it to your friends, but if you do, thank you and enjoy. So before we go into Messi, I actually want to use a goal from Lamine Yamal in this World Cup, which uses this same principle that Messi is using today. So Lamine, you see here, uses a double movement to take away the defender. So as he moves inside, you'll see here, the defender looks inside, and that's the timing, and timing is a key word. He attacks the second post from that point and scores a goal. So football's a really complex game, and the best people can break that down in the most simple way. So let's do that. Because to understand how Messi's using this against people, we actually need to understand the formula. So, simple rule of football, the goal is here. You're trying to be closer to the goal than the other person. So the defender's trying to be goal side, the attacker's trying to get ahead of the defender to get a clear shot on goal. That's the simple basics of football. Players have said about Busquets and Paul Scholes.
In the end, you stop pressing him because it's just so frustrating, because you can't get near him, you can't get the ball off him, you can't get close, because if you come out of your position to press him, he pops it round you, and you can't do it for 90 minutes because you're just using useless energy up. He's an absolute nightmare to play against.
You'd try and press him and he'd already have a picture in his brain what he was going to do. So I'd try press him, he'd just play it round me, like using techniques that were just far ahead. So you thought, right, I won't press him because he's just going to pop it around me, and then he'd just dictate the game like the orchestra.
You can't press them because they play off 1 and 2 touch, but once you give them the space, they start to hit the dangerous forward players. And that's the same logic. When the player here gets close to Lamine Yamal, he uses the space that the player leaves behind to exploit and score a goal. That's not just about speed. That's also about timing, and that's what we're seeing now at 38 that Lionel Messi has completely mastered. So we're going to go back down memory lane to Wembley. Lionel Messi gave a glimpse very early in this game at what can happen. And I'll be doing a full breakdown, not just on this finish, but actually how Messi uses it to have a 10 out of 10 performance like he did on this day at Wembley. So stay tuned for that video. Messi comes in for the ball, Vidic follows, whoops. So that's the quality that you need. But now it's Messi versus Ferdinand, okay? He has his winger on the side. The distance is really important. So Messi's bringing Ferdinand in. The first option is try and dribble into the space that Ferdinand leaves behind. That gives him a clear one-on-one. But as you can see, Ferdinand is trying to delay him. So Messi needs to get to a distance where he's close enough to burst past Rio Ferdinand, either on the ball or off it. Rio holds off, Messi plays it off to the right. But now Messi bursts on the blind side of Rio. Knowing Ferdinand must look at the ball, Messi attacks the second post. And that's the first red flag for United. So Messi could have gone for the early pass to try and get David Villa a shot off. But he's decided not to do that. Again, in this goal, we see Messi deeper in the pitch, but the same principle applies. He attracts the midfielder to apply pressure. The pressure comes, Messi plays the pass and bursts into the space between the midfield and the defence, which is an important point. Then he finishes and scores a goal. So midfielders and defenders in this situation don't want to press Messi, because when we go back to the basics of football, he can get closer to the goal than them if they come too close to him. So what about when he's off the ball? So both those examples, Messi was the one dribbling. This is where Messi drifts into the game. He's happy to walk around. He's happy to be a shadow that isn't too involved, but he's very observant of what's going on, as Pep Guardiola once told us.
He's watching now, he's working. He's working the ball. That is what I like the most. He's not out of the game, he's involved. He's moving his head. Right, left, right.
As we see here versus Austria, Messi plays the ball and initially bursts ahead of the first midfielder. So now he sits in this gap where he's slightly ahead of the midfielder, but he's behind the defensive line. 4 Argentina players are leading the attack with 3 close to the ball. All eyes are on the ball from the Austria defence. Lautaro pins Alaba. Messi's on a blind side and drifts towards the edge of the box. As Medina shapes to play, Messi slightly picks up the speed, but he wants to stay behind the ball where he can react to the ball with a sprint. Messi doesn't want to be too high where he has to slow down his run or face the ball, which may force him to take 2 touches, as that gives Sabitzer time to get in and recover. So he stays, reacts, and shoots. Sabitzer blames Lima for not going towards Lionel Messi. However, Lima wants to make sure the back post isn't available, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. So Lima's pinned by the back post. Now Sabitzer has to try and go, but look how fast he tries to get in. Sabitzer cannot get there in time. Bear in mind, Messi's playing up front in this game. And we're talking about the left midfielder needing to get in and get to Messi, just so he can't have this shot. Again, we see the same problem for the fullback here, and in this situation, it's Ben Davies. Messi bursts past Sissoko and finds the space between the defensive and midfield line. So we've said you can't be too close and you can't give him too much space. So what if the fullback, as we said before with Lima or Ben Davies, does come out to engage Messi? To show you a sneak peek of the next video, we're going to show you this now. So here's the answer. We're going back to Wembley again, where Xavi has the ball. Evra steps out to Messi. Now, when Evra comes out, that leaves the space to the back post, right? So Vidic isn't able to get to the ball. The pass goes and it's 1-0. Vidic here blames Evra for coming out. You shouldn't be coming out to Messi. Stay in your position where you can cover me as a centre-back. And we'll go back to Lautaro there and we see where all the space was at the back post, where he could have hit. So that's why the fullback is staying in, right? So the fullback comes out, that's Evra, and it goes to 1-0. But we're going to go a step further. Next attack, Messi stays off. Now, Evra or Vidic don't want to go because Vidic went when there was the warning sign earlier on, and Evra went when there was a goal. So they both stay in as Lionel Messi goes free on the midfield line. There's hesitation coming out to him, and that causes another goal. So if you add all that up, find me a way to stop Lionel Messi. You're doomed if you do, and you're doomed if you don't. What does it mean for you? So Lionel Messi does this and he's the master of it. And a lot of top players, not just Lamine Yamal, use this principle, maybe not in the way he can, but they do use it. Number 1, test the reactions of people. Move into spaces that they're not seeing. As we go back to Lamine Yamal, okay, I look inside, go outside. As we see with Messi, get ahead of the midfielder. See if he comes to engage. See if the defender sprints out when the ball comes across. As we've seen with Tottenham, he used the timing very well and he was able to get a goal. When people come out to you, know your options ahead. It's really important here that when Lionel Messi has the ball, he knows he's got the winger ahead of him. He needs to know where that option is, because if not, he's going to get forced to one side and he's going to really struggle to play. Messi knows what's ahead of him, but when he plays the ball, he plays it in a timing where the defender is close enough to him for Messi to get ahead of the ball. When you have that time, because it's the threat of getting ahead of the ball that gives you the time, whether you get ahead of the ball by beating the player one-on-one or passing and running. That threat will give you time, and when you have that time, you can try to entice people, but you've also got to be threatening. Whether that's playing to the forward players, if you're in Messi's situation, that's going to be connecting, creating and scoring. So you've got to be able to use that time that you're being given to actually punish the opposition. There will be a lot of videos on Lionel Messi. I've done hundreds of hours on him. I'm only a fan as much as you, and I can guess and analyse the genius that is behind him. But what questions do you have? I will bring these breakdowns based off my opinion, but I need your questions and what you want to know to be able to do that. So until next time, stay hungry. I'll see you soon.